Before Jocko Willink became the Internet's symbol of discipline, the 4 a.m. wake-ups, the cold steel voice, the get-after-it mindset, he was leading men into the deadliest streets of Iraq. Ramadi wasn't just a battlefield, it was a place where every mistake cost a life. And yet, instead of breaking, Jocko walked out with a philosophy that changed the world. This is the story of the Navy SEAL commander who turned chaos into clarity and war into wisdom. Jocko Willink isn't a motivational speaker who appears out of nowhere, nor a social media personality playing military cosplay. He is a retired Navy SEAL commander who led Task Unit Bruiser, one of the most decorated special operations units of the Iraq War. Under his leadership were operators like Chris Kyle, the American sniper, and Leif Babin, his future co-author. But Jocko's real impact didn't come from medals or missions. It came from something far more unusual for a soldier: his mind. His calm, controlled, analytical approach to war became the foundation of his worldwide philosophy known today as discipline equals freedom. His books have become modern classics. His podcast reaches millions, and CEOs, athletes, and everyday people use his principles to rebuild their lives. Before he became the face of extreme discipline, Jocko was a restless kid growing up in New England. He hated rules, didn't like being told what to do, and got into the kind of trouble that could have put him on a very different path. But that rebellious energy, instead of destroying him, eventually evolved into the thing that defines him: discipline. He once said, "Discipline equals freedom," a sentence so simple it almost sounds like a contradiction. But in his life, it became a law. He learned early that without discipline, you become a slave to impulse. With discipline, you gain control over everything: your time, your actions, your future. Jocko joined the Navy at 18, and from the start, he was drawn to the toughest path available: becoming a SEAL. Jocko later talked about how the cold water taught him calm, how sleep deprivation taught him clarity, how punishment taught him self-control. That's the opposite of how most people react. Most people break under pressure. But Jocko trained himself to see pressure as sharpening. He would later say, "Good. Something went wrong? Good. You lost? Good. Now you learn." That single word, good, became a philosophy that shaped his entire worldview. It wasn't optimism. It wasn't toxic positivity. It was responsibility. If something goes wrong, you look at yourself first. You find what you could have done better. You figure out how to fix it, and then you move. To understand Jocko, we have to go to Ramadi, 2006, a place many SEALs privately described as hell on earth. Buildings turned into traps, streets littered with IEDs, every window a potential sniper, every rooftop a threat. Jocko wasn't just fighting insurgents, he was fighting chaos. But here's what made him different. While most people look at war and see only fear, Jocko saw responsibility. In his book Extreme Ownership, he wrote, "Leaders must own everything in their world. There is no one else to blame." This wasn't a quote for Instagram. It came from one of the darkest days of his career, the blue-on-blue incident, where friendly forces accidentally engaged each other. People were injured. The aftermath was brutal. When commanders demanded answers, Jocko didn't point fingers. He didn't blame miscommunication. He didn't blame fog of war. He didn't blame his team. He said only 5 words: "It was my fault. I'm responsible." Silence filled the room, but that moment changed everything. His honesty saved careers. His leadership restored trust. And his philosophy was born. Extreme ownership wasn't written in an office. It was written in blood. Jocko's leadership style was not explosive or dramatic. If anything, it was the opposite. War creates adrenaline. Jocko created calm. Most commanders shouted. Jocko lowered his voice. Most rushed decisions. Jocko slowed time. On the Jocko Podcast, he once said, "If you want to be tough, be calm." During firefights, he would speak so slowly that operators said it felt like the world had dropped into slow motion. His clarity became their anchor. He trained his men the same way he trained himself, never emotional, never rushed, never panicked. Because the truth is, Jocko doesn't worship strength or aggression, he worships control. He teaches a paradox. The more discipline you have, the more freedom you gain. Wake up early, freedom from chaos. Stay consistent, freedom from anxiety. Take responsibility, freedom from excuses. It's not motivation, it's structure. And structure wins wars. When Jocko returned home, he faced something many veterans struggle with: purpose. War gives direction. Civilian life gives noise. But Jocko didn't slow down. He shifted his mission. He started Echelon Front, teaching leadership to businesses. He launched the Jocko Podcast, a global phenomenon. He wrote best-selling books including Extreme Ownership, Discipline Equals Freedom, Leadership Strategy and Tactics, and the Way of the Warrior Kid series. Jocko wasn't trying to become famous. He was trying to translate military clarity into civilian life. Because most people never face a battlefield, but all of us face battles: stress, failure, fear, lack of direction. Jocko realized what people were missing wasn't motivation, it was a code. A way to live that keeps you centered when everything falls apart. This is the part of his message that spread like wildfire. While social media encourages shortcuts, hacks, dopamine hits, and quick rewards, Jocko said something completely different. There are no shortcuts. There is only discipline. This idea became a revolution. Every morning, at around 4:30 a.m., Jocko posts a picture of his watch. No caption, no motivation speech, just the time. That single image became a symbol, not of waking up early, but of consistency when no one is watching. In Discipline Equals Freedom, he writes, "You won't always be motivated. You have to learn to be driven." Driven means you show up when tired, you train when unmotivated, you keep going when nobody notices. This message resonated with millions because it wasn't glamorous, it was honest. He also teaches something few people expect. Emotions are not the enemy. Indecision is. Make a decision. Own it. Move forward. If you fail, take responsibility. Learn. Move again. Jocko's philosophy isn't about being fearless. It's about being capable in the presence of fear. That's what makes people stronger. That's what makes teams perform. And that's what turns ordinary individuals into leaders. Throughout his career and writing, Jocko has delivered lines that many consider some of the most grounding advice of modern times. Good, his entire philosophy of embracing difficulty in one word. Don't expect to be motivated every day, expect to be disciplined every day. Get up, go, do something. Leadership is simple, but not easy. It's not what you preach, it's what you tolerate. These aren't slogans, they're survival tools, refined in war, sharpened in business, and applied to everyday life. People follow Jocko not because he's loud or dramatic or controversial, but because he's real. In a world of fake confidence, staged perfection, and shallow advice, Jocko gives something deeply human: accountability, stability, structure, calmness. He doesn't promise success, he promises responsibility. He doesn't claim to be perfect, he explains the cost of failure. He doesn't tell you life is easy, he tells you it's possible. Jocko Willink's message is not about becoming a soldier, it's about becoming someone reliable for your family, your work, yourself. Someone who doesn't hide, someone who doesn't run, someone who steps up.
Because as he says, the test is coming. It always comes. And when it does, your preparation decides who you become. Jocko Willink didn't become a leader because he wanted power. He became one because people needed clarity in the darkest moments of their lives. His story is not about war. It's about discipline, responsibility, and choosing to rise every single day. So whatever battle you're fighting, remember his most famous idea: discipline equals freedom. When the world becomes chaotic, when fear takes over, when everything feels uncertain, be calm, be steady, be disciplined. Because in the storm, that's where true leaders are made. If you like this video, subscribe to Knowledge is Power.